And the starter's orders, and it's a perfect start for Freddie Slater. Vasile can't beat him off the line. Slater gets into the lead. Perfect start for the British driver as they storm through to turn 1 and up through turn 2. It is Slater from Vasile and Mathia. Mathia has come forward. The Spanish driver into 3rd position already. Daniel Mathia really wants to win on home soil, and he's going to have to take on the pair of Birolats up front if he's going to get the job done. Stodjamanis through into 4th position. A good start through from Matthew Spergel. He's come through into 5th place, and Alex Powell is down to P6 with Kia Nakamura-Berta chasing them down behind the CRG of Jorge Pescador.
And watch out for any move coming in turn number 7 into the opening lap. Thomas Stodjamanis around the outside onto the curve. He goes for P3 and he makes it alive. Beautifully made by the Energy Corsa driver. Upper place in P3. What a sensational move. We have never seen that so far in the weekend on the curve outside of the hairpin.
I never would have thought that possible, but Thomas Stodjamanis has made it look like child's play. Up to 3rd position on the first lap. That's given Spergel 4th. Powell is up to 5th. Pescador's up to 6th. Daniel Mathia sadly all the way down to P7 in front of Nakamura-Berta, Christian Bertucco and Jenny Savico. There are still 3 Spanish drivers in the top 10 trying to work their way to the front, but for the moment it's the British driver Freddie Slater now set to battle with his teammate Daniel Vasile. The last time these two came together it was Vasile who beat Slater. Now Slater has got to hold it together for the next 17 laps to keep his Romanian teammate and elder statesman in the team at bay.
Yeah, no matter what, the Birolats colours on there. And he goes for the move!
He's
There's a
through.
switch!
But Slater's going to try and come back at him. It's done for Vasile. He's got him.
Yeah, no matter what the colors are on the suits, they are from the same team, but gloves off. This is battle for the win, and as we have enough for a yellow flag on the other side of the track, it's happening outside of your vision. But there was the move. Daniel Vasile made it stick into the hairpin, and Slater is going to have to be chasing his teammate. He's going to have a lot of time ahead of him. But who did we lose, Jay?
It's Maxi Paul. Maxi Paul has dropped from the fray. Bitter disappointment for the German talent, but Maxi Paul has not come through. So already some big difficulties for Maxi Paul, but there is the move again from Freddie Slater trying to take on Daniel Vasile. Slater trying again, and it looks as though Alex Powell has got through on Jorge Pescador as well. So they have worked their magic forward. Matthew Spergel. In fact, no, Powell has got through on Spergel now. Powell through on Spergel to get into 4th position. In 7th, Bertucca has got past Nakamura-Berta as well. So there are plenty of drivers trying to rise up the order and have a go.
Yeah, you saw it in the corner. Alex Powell is trying to recover, starting his operation mode up to the front. Didn't have the best of getaway. Nakamura-Berta is all the way down to P8.
Look at Slater. Slater's got back up to Vasile. He's going to try again to get past his Romanian teammate as Jorge Pescador has been given a warning flag up in 6th position. So he's got to be very careful how he goes about this. Now, if you're Freddie Slater, just sit behind Vasile. Follow in behind. Just let it all happen. But they've got to be careful because the man in 3rd position is Thomas Stodjamanis. The Latvian is catching up to them big time. So Slater's got to think about this now. Does he attack or does he go on the defense? It's going to be very tricky to play out because Thomas Stodjamanis is absolutely charging. We got 2 karts off the road. That's Levinsky, Luye and Paparo. So 3 karts all off the road together there. And I'm afraid that's game over for Michael Paparo of the Praga. And I think Samuel Luye, the Tony kart, has come off there at the same circuit, the same part of the circuit as well. Levinsky got going again, so did Maxi Paul. So those 2 karts on the sidelines are Sam Luye and Michael Paparo.
And lucky for the drivers, the wind here in Zuera has not picked up as much as yesterday. So it was a struggle to keep the racing line together yesterday in the qualifying races. They're having none of it this Sunday, so it will ease the effort. Struggling and battling at the front for the podium positions. But look at Thomas Stodjamanis. He's the one with a clean air in front of him, as we're going to see a replay of the start from behind.
I think it was pretty much spot on from everybody,
yeah,
just about. There might be 1 or 2 drivers in the field.
Maybe the CRG in the middle, but it's hard to say. We're going to have to get back on that post-race, but it was at the back of the grid. Nothing to worry about, as it seems, for the favorites up front. But what a start it was from the outside, from Freddie Slater. There was the switch in the hairpin.
Look how smart Vasile was. He knew he was going deep, and then he just cut back in across to stop Slater getting back in on the inside. That was well read. Now this is Pescador versus Spergel. 5th and 6th now, so Jorge Pescador has got his way into 5th position for the Cali Kart squad. There's a genuine chance he can climb up towards Stodjamanis and Powell, who are now 3rd and 4th. The Latvian and the Jamaican are ahead of Jorge Pescador, and Pescador, of course, has the experience in KZ2 compared to these guys. But Freddie Slater climbing all over the back of Daniel Vasile. The Birolats are 1 and 2. Vasile and Slater then Stolchamanis in the energy course, the Prema Kart Republic of Alex Powell, and then Jorge Pescador in the Cali Kart. Look how threatening Freddie Slater is starting to look behind Daniel Vasile. He's got to be calculated about this. Will he come up the inside line into turn 4? He comes up through the third corner. He's thinking about it, and he's gone for it. Freddie Slater takes the lead. What a move. Freddie Slater comes through, and Thomas Stolchamanis is going to take on Vasile in the same breath. Vasile holds him off, and that's given Slater a tiny bit of daylight.
Yeah, that was a ballsy move on the outside of turn number 5, but there was no way to go, no room whatsoever. Watch out for Stolchamanis as Powell dives through in turn number 7. Beautifully made. Powell upper place in P3, and Stolchamanis just was keeping the door closed because Jorge Pescador was coming at him just before, but Pescador is forced to stay in P5. Stolchamanis keeps it alive. He's going to have to shut all the doors because he was caught in his momentum by Alex Powell, who went for it and made the maneuver click beautifully.
They've all got fresh tyres, but when do you push? When do you really maximise the speed? Because the problem is if you go too early, by lap 17, 18, your tyres will be screaming at you. You've got to balance it. You've got to be careful as to when you go for the moves. But you also don't want to fall into the clutches of the others behind you. Freddie Slater leads the way in front of Daniel Vasile. Alex Powell in third. Thomas Stolchamanis is fourth. And Jorge Pescador is fifth in front of Kian Nakamura Berta. A really exciting challenge. And look, here is Nakamura Berta, having caught and passed Matteo Spergel. We know how fast he is over one lap. Now he's going to try and take on Jorge Pescador and wipe the smiles from the faces of the fans in the stands as Nakamura Berta is hunting down the Cali Kart of Jorge Pescador.
You know, someone that we haven't seen it yet in this final is quite unfortunate. Is Christian Bertucca. He's only running in P10 in front of his teammate Alessio Piscini, just outside of it, in front of Maxime and Jean Noblo. After all the trouble he's been through, Christian Bertucca, here was his chance certainly to finish on a high, and at the moment he's having none of it with a couple of seconds left for him to climb if he wants to make the connection with the top 5.
We have a technical flag as well for Adrian Mariero, unfortunately, another of the Spanish drivers. He is not going to go any further in this race as Adrian Mariero comes through across the line, but there is going to be a bit of a challenge further back as Nakamura Berta makes his bid on the inside of Pescador. And did Pescador hold him off, or has Nakamura Berta been able to get through? No, Nakamura Berta did get past Pescador, as through the pit lane comes a very frustrated Adrian Mariero. His bumper was actually caught on the right rear of the kart, and they're having to adjust it in the pit lane to get Adrian Mariero to keep going. So hopefully they'll be able to get him going again, and he does indeed leave the pits, having had his moment in pit lane, but it's ruined Adrian Mariero's chances in this one. So Nakamura Berta, having got past Pescador, is now going to try and close up on the energy course of Thomas Stolchamanis, someone who he is used to going wheel to wheel with, but not in a KZ2.
And unfortunately for Stolchamanis, it doesn't seem by the look of it to be able to keep up with the pace of the two leaders. And if he doesn't keep on going... Oh,
3 leaders, because here's Alex Powell. This is the move from Powell to get past Thomas Stolchamanis. And ever since he's made that move, Powell has actually been on a one-way missile cruise to close up on the two Birolats. And look, he's caught them. Powell is in the hunt for the victory now.
Yeah, there we go, the young Jamaican with the yellow crash helmet in P3. Taking his connection to the leading wagon, Freddie Slater, Vasile, and now Alex Powell. And as I was saying just before the replays, Thomas Stolchamanis is not quite able to keep up with the pace of the top 3 in front of him. And if he doesn't keep on pushing, he's going to fall into the close of Kian Nakamura Berta, taking Pescador with him in P6. Then we have Matteo Spergel, Macias, Vico Spona, Bertucca running up the top 10. Just outside of it, Noblo, Piscini, Leopardi, as we keep following the battle for P2. Look out for Alex Powell into turn number 5, that never-ending left-hander. We're actually a bit later in the lap. My apologies, this is the last corner. I'm back on the start-finish straight. Watch out for Powell. Can he actually make a try into the opening corner?
He's not going to get there through turn 1, but he might have a look into turn 4. Vasile's needing to pull clear here. Alex Powell in the Prema Kart Republic might get a chance to come up to second place. He launches and he gets there. Alex Powell, the Jamaican, in a second position, slides his way in, gets the kart stopped on the apex, travels back on the throttle, and Alex Powell in a second position as we say goodbye to Alex Marigliano, the Italian, who was so strong at the beginning of the weekend, up in the top 5 for the majority of the qualifying heats. and it's all fallen apart in the final. What a shame for Marigliano.
Yeah, what a shame for the Maranello team from Germany as well. David Trefilov in the KZ class didn't have the best of weekend either. Let's see what he can do later in the final. But another of the Maranello drivers in trouble, having to finish earlier this race.
Oh, this is getting good. Now that Alex Powell has dealt with Daniel Vasile, he's going to try and catch up to Freddie Slater. We complete lap 10. We've got 8 to go. And there's Thomas Stolchamanis, the energy course driver. Here's the move from Powell. Look at that. I mean, that is very, very close to a big collision. He slides in, lets the Romanian know, I am getting through. There's nothing you can do about it. But he's up to second, and now he senses the Mercedes F1 Junior genuinely feels, I could catch Freddie Slater. 6 days ago, Slater was the dominant force in Ginettas at Alton Park, and here he is in Zuera, and he's going to have the biggest pressure of his life. Alex Powell all over the back of him, trying to take him on. An F1 Junior versus the British Bulldog. Here we go.
And remember, this is Zuera 2021 all over again. This is the track where 2 years ago, Freddie Slater, your current leader, took the European crown in the okjunior class back in the day. Alex Powell did a great job as well on this event before making their way to the OK class afterwards. It was for last season. But those two have been competing against each other in Zuera, but a different class.
Powell's got big straight line speed by comparison to Slater. He was 4 kilometers an hour faster at the line alone. So Powell will be going for the move if he gets the opportunity. Here it comes. Alex Powell takes the lead from Freddie Slater. And if he is going to have the same sort of speed that we saw from him in one lap qualifying, none of the other drivers will see which way the Jamaican went.
Fantastic move indeed. Alex Powell, your new leader. He's done that a couple of times, 3 wins in the qualifying races yesterday, and now the Prema Car Republic driver is back in the lead. Will he be able to keep it for good until the end? Less than 7 laps until the checkered flag now. Freddie Slater still something to say in this race. The British driver very, very close indeed. But still, Lucas coming back to him. Daniel Vasile is going to give him a hard time, as well as Nakamura in the same wagon.
Yes, Stolchamanis has fallen behind Nakamura Berta now, and here comes the other Prema Kart Republic, storming up to the Birillard twins. This is going to be a fabulous charge from Kia Nakamura Berta. 6 laps to go. Freddie Slater hanging on a second in front of Vasile. You've got to be careful. Running wide. Nakamura Berta. What a move on Vasile.
Wow.
Brilliant move from the Japanese driver, representing Britain in the European Championships, of course. But he storms through in a third. And now it's Prema Birillard. Prema Birillard.
And we look out for the move from Jorge Pescador. In the meantime, on Thomas Stolchamanis in turn number 5. Beautifully made by Pescador. Upper place in P5. And it doesn't smell quite good for Stolchamanis, who's going defensive against Matteo Spergel behind with the CPB Studycard colors. As Daniel Machia has tumbled down a little bit. He lost momentum from P5, the Spanish driver from DPK. But it's not over yet. It's not over yet either for the lead and for the places of honor on the podium and just outside of it on the edge. But as for now, 7/10 of a second split. Alex Powell and Freddie Slater, Kia Nakamura Berta just behind. Let's see that move again from Alex Powell on Slater. 2 beautiful moves in a row. And now the Jamaican is in the lead. Nakamura Berta in the meantime going for it on the curb pretty much on the 305 of Daniel Vasile. Well done to them too. And watch out for the pace that the Car Republic drivers have been able to carry on ever since the start of the weekend. Ever once they are in the lead, they are pretty much untouchable, both Powell and Nakamura Berta. And the Japanese driver is only wanting one thing, to make the connection with his fellow teammate from Car Republic. But for that, he's going to have to get rid of Freddie Slater in P2.
This is a fabulous opportunity for all of the drivers in the top 4 to end this fabulous opening weekend on a high note. But Pescador and Stolchamanis have not given up hope of trying to get to the podium. There's Powell in the lead, Slater in second, Nakamura Berta in third. And this is Slater versus Nakamura Berta yet again. We've had it a couple of times over the course of the weekend now. And here we are again in the final. Not the last time these two have duelled for a podium spot in a final in FIA Karting. Vasile still trying to keep the hopes alive for Romania. Pescador flying the flag for Spain in P5, and Thomas Stolchamanis ruthless in his efficiency to try and get back to the podium once again. And that's a bit of defensive tactics now from Slater, holding up Nakamura Berta, which backs Pescador into 4th, who's got past Vasile. Pescador up to 4th position. The Romanian can't do a lot about it, but Jorge Pescador is 1 step from the podium on home soil.
Yeah, I like to see that. Jorge Pescador, we heard him in the interview. Watch out for any counter-attack in turn number 7, but Jorge Pescador is keeping himself in P4. The driver from the Kart is showing great pace and great determination. He's been around for a good number of years, so it's good to see that his experience and skills are still very much alive compared to the newcomers of the class. This is experience against a fresh face at the battle for the places of honor in KZ2. 1 full second now between Powell and Slater. You can see the Jamaican really pulling away from the rest of the field with gesturing from the mechanics on the sideline in the start-finish straight. Nakamura Alberta, 4/10 of a second off. Freddie Slater. And we have Pescador, Vasile, Stolzeman is still trying to catch up with the top 5 in front of him. The Energy Corsi driver under the pressure of Matteo Spiegel. Matteo Spiegel, the Frenchman from P7, who hasn't been able to find an open door quite yet. Is the strongest representative of the CPB sport as it seems, but he still have a couple of laps with the checkered flag. We can feel it coming. Less than 2 laps after this one.
Here it comes. Nakamura Berta has been building up to this on Freddie Slater. He's got an opportunity. There's a yellow flag in the background, so somebody must have gone off in turn 7. But it looks as though it's been cleared pretty quickly. Oh no, it's even further back than that. It's one of the Birolots towards the tail end of the... It's Bertucca! Christian Bertucca! His topsy-turvy weekend finally ends in disaster. What a shame for Christian Bertucca. He will not make the podium. He will not even make the finish. So Christian Bertucca is out of this race. But now Jorge Pescador has come through on Nakamura Berta. The Spanish star has come up to the podium. And now he senses he could go for Freddie Slater. Slater's trying to back them up. Nakamura Berta is there in 4th position. And now we've got a queue building. Vasile, Spergel, Stodjamanis and Mathia. Little bit of contact as Pescador is trying again to take on Slater. Here he goes! Pescador tries! It will not happen! Not if Freddie Slater's got anything to say about it. Freddie Slater holding on a second. Look at Stodjamanis round the outside trying to drive around them all. Very brave from the Latvian, but it will not happen as Alex Powell is going to dominate up front.
Keep to the edge of your seat because this is the final of final. The last lap is coming our way. Alex Powell out of reach. Freddie Slater, Pescador on the podium in front of Nakamura Berta. Daniel Vasile, Spurgel, who can come out on top. Last lap, ladies and gentlemen. 2nd place for Slater, Pescador. Can he actually make it move once again? Warning flag for the Spanish driver, who went maybe a little bit too aggressive in his quest for the podium. Hopefully this won't have any consequence for the final result. But he's going to have to keep Nakamura Berta, sorry, just behind. Watch out for the pressure from Daniel Vasile. Can he make it still? One last maneuver in the last turn, maybe.
Slater trying to hang on to the championship lead by finishing 2nd in front of Pescador if he can, but Nakamura Berta and Vasile are definitely going to make it very difficult indeed to hold on to. Slater trying to back them up. Pescador doing his best. Look at Vasile round the outside of Nakamura Berta. They drift wide, and that's cost Vasile. Spergel's going to get through instead to pick up into 5th position, but up in front is going to be the man who has not failed to be on the podium in a European Championship race for 12 months. He hasn't lost the race since May last year in the European Championships, and Alex Powell wins in Zuera, the Jamaican sensation.